Hey everybody! So we are gonna do a small experiment if you're down. I have potatoes growing. And you see down there there's small ones, but if you look this way you can see all these pretty big ones here. If you are in Texas or surrounding states, you might have noticed there's a lot of rain happening and there's going to be more. Our potatoes are pretty close to harvest date, average harvest date, and we've had all this rain. And what happens a lot of times with your potatoes, onions, garlic, and similar root crops is they'll rot in the ground if they get too wet for a prolonged period of time, and they already have tubers. So, and let me say this, you will not always get blooms on your potato plants. Sometimes, most of the time you will. This year, we did not get blooms on almost any of our potato plants, and I want to say that has something to do with the weather and how it's been kind of weird this year in 2021. So I'm going to go ahead and harvest one of these potato plants and kind of just see what we're going to get. So I'm going to kind of look at the potatoes, we're going to examine them, and I'm going to show you how to harvest. So let's go ahead and get into some mud. Now this is the potato plant I am going to pull today. Why? Because it's the biggest and it's getting some yellowing down here and the leaves are starting to die back. A lot of people will tell you that you are supposed to wait until your potato plant completely dies back and is brown and shriveled before you harvest. That is normally pretty accurate, but because it's so wet, we're not going to abide by those rules. So I'm going to dig this one. We're going to see what comes up, and if most of the potatoes look pretty good, then I'm going to harvest the rest of the bigger ones. So let's go ahead and get in this. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to look and be like, okay, there's 4 or 5 nodes in one spot. That is probably your potato plant. So we're going to grab all those big stems and pull. Okay. Oh, looky there. Got this big boy here. Put them in there. We got a couple of little ones. These ones I call new potatoes. They're really good for stews. Okay. We have this guy. Get most of the mud off of him. He's looking good. Kind of small, but that's okay. Now, when you're harvesting them and it's wet like this, you want to be very careful not to scratch your potato. Another one. Okay, does it have this plant next to it? There's more. Okay, I'm not seeing any more in this plant. So, someone told me you could replant that, but I just really don't think it's going to do anything. But hey, why not try? So let's go look at these potatoes. Here's our harvest from that one tomato plant, or potato plant, I'm sorry. Okay, so this is that first potato we pulled out. As you can see, there's lots of broken off spots where the stem was coming out. This, I believe, is the potato I planted. And I only say that because it's very hard. And there's some holes in there. And if you look in the holes, it's kind of hollow feeling. And so I'm thinking this is the growing potato. This is not going to be a potato we eat. I might try to replant it. Okay, let's look at these. Get the mud off of it. You want to be careful when you're getting the mud off not to rub off that outer skin, because that outer skin is what's going to store your potato. Okay, do you see these white dots? Those are called lenticels, or lenticel. It's spelled like lentil, but CEL at the end. Those are swollen due to the extreme moisture content we've had in the soil. Potatoes that are affected by this tend to not store as long, and therefore I might try to dry them out just a little and then replant them. So I'm going to leave these ones that are affected by the white dots kind of out today to dry off, and then I will replant them possibly tomorrow. Go ahead and look at this guy. Oops, I scratched him right here. That's a no-no. Anyways, this is a good sized potato for us. We like to use potatoes in soups and like stews and stuff like that. Not as much for like baked potatoes. So this is going to be perfect. We got this guy. We got some of these smaller ones. This one, you can see those white spots. I'm going to leave them out. So overall, I'm happy. Now, some of these definitely could have been left in longer. I am leaving the other ones in the ground for now. And then if I start to see more yellowing, I will dig them up. But this was kind of an experiment to see where our potatoes are at. And I definitely recommend, if your soil is wet and has been wet for the last week, then I would try harvesting one plant's worth and just kind of examine your potatoes. I mean, you can see here we have some damage, and this is caused from pest. This is probably either a cutworm, roly-poly, you know. I'm thinking this is cutworm just because it's holes like so. Cutworms are small worms that live in your soil and like to eat roots and tubers, which potatoes are pretty much exaggerated roots, swollen roots. So if you look at all that, this potato overall looks pretty good. I will end up planting it just because it's got the white lenticels. But overall, I'm pretty happy with this. So I'd rather get a small harvest than no harvest at all. And this is a good way to guarantee that, is to get at least one of those plants out of the ground if you think it is risky to keep it in the ground. And some of those things to look for are yellowing on the bottom of the leaves, plant dying significantly fast, like within a week it's dying. If you see any kind of large pest issues on it, just stuff like that, I would definitely recommend harvesting one of the plants and just really look at your potatoes, you know, figure out what's going on under the soil. So anyways, we appreciate y'all joining us for this, and we will see you next time. Bye.